swear by the Almighty Allah
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
shall be the truth,
the
whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
You can wait for the instruction.
Thank you.
Please tell the commission your names, please.
My names are Kebba Manneh.
Where do you live, Mr. Manneh?
I live at Fajikundama.
You work at the Gambia Ports Authority?
Yes, please.
In what capacity?
As Senior Manager, Technical Services.
In 2011, what office did you hold?
I was a Manager, Technical Services.
Could you please sit down?
Thank you.
Mr. Manneh, sometime in 2011, you were involved with the Ferris Councillor and Al-Jamdu. Is that right?
Yes, please.
What was the nature of your involvement?
Well, everything started when I was on a technical trip with a technical team to trek to the provincial ferries, that is from Farafenni up to Fatoto. Then during that trip, I received a telephone call from somebody at the State House. Then the person called me that I should submit my passport to the State House. I told the individual that I am on a trek at Farafenni and I'm supposed to proceed up to Fatoto. And I came from Banjul yesterday. The person insisted that anyway I should submit my passport to the State House that very day. I said, well, if you are insisting, I can only come from Farafenni by tomorrow and not today, because today I am already at Farafenni. And the person said, okay, if you come from Farafenni, then submit your passport to either Foreign Affairs or State House. I said, fine, I will then submit my passport to the Foreign Affairs. He said, okay. The person rang off the phone. Then I had to call my online director then. That was Abdullah Kamara. He was the Director of Technical Services. And then I relayed the information to him that I received a call from somebody at the State House who is telling me to submit my passport to the State House. So my online director told me, anyway, it's a news to him, he is not aware. I said, okay, fine, thank you. Then I called the then Managing Director, Muhammad Lamin Jiba. Then I told him, MD, I received a call from somebody at the State House who was telling me to surrender my passport to either Foreign Affairs or State House. Then Lamin Jiba, the then MD, told me, well, Kebba, it's okay. He said, well, we are on a meeting. I heard something is going on, but what you can do is just talk to your team so that you come back to Banjul, because this is an executive order. It's beyond my level. So just come back, please, with your team. I say, okay, thank you. Then I called my team members. I told them, anyway, I had a call from the State House. Somebody called from the State House, and I informed my superiors that this is what has happened. And I was told that the team should come back to Banjul. Then the team said, then fine, so far as you are the head of the team and you are saying this, there's no problem, you can go back. Then we came back the next day. I went to submit my passport to Foreign Affairs. Then the Foreign Affairs, they collected our passports. Then they told us that we will be traveling to Greece. I said, okay. Then I came. They told
you, us, who is us?
Myself, and then the then Director of Revenue Generation and Marketing, Ali Guy, who is now the Deputy Managing Director at the Ferry Services.
Who did you talk to at the State House, or who called you from State House to tell you to surrender your passport?
No, I can't remember the name, actually.
All right. Only two of you from ports?
Yes, only myself and Ali Guy from the ports. Yes.
Okay. Go on.
Then on our way to Greece, we had a stop at
only the two of you were going to Greece?
The two of us, including the team, comprises of some other people.
Yes, who were they?
The then former Secretary General Njoguba, and then the then permanent secretary at the office of the President, Mustafa Yabo. Then we went to Morocco. When we reached at Morocco, I had to ask, what are we going to do at Greece? Because I was not privy to what I was going for. I just only had a call. So then Njogu said, Kebba, so it means you don't know what you are going for. I said, no, I don't know. I don't know what I am going to do at Greece. Then he talked to Mustafa Yabo. He told Mustafa Yabo that if we reach at the hotel, try and send the pictures of the vessels to his email account so that he can have a look at these vessels. He said, we are going to have a look at we are going to inspect some of the ferries at Greece that the government is interested in. I say, okay. So from there, when we reach at Greece, they saw us the ferries that they have identified.
Who had identified?
The people from the office of the president, I suppose. Because I was with them in the team. And they sent me email of the pictures of the vessels.
Where were these ferries in Greece?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
Then we went to Greece to look at the ferries. After the inspections, we had a meeting. Then
you inspected the ferries. Did you inspect the ferries?
The whole team went on board to inspect the ferry.
But did you inspect the ferries?
Yes.
Okay.
After the inspection, because we went on 2 occasions. So after the inspections, we had a meeting with the Greek counterparts. What I told them was that, well, as what I would want us to do or want to be done as a technical person, I would prefer you take these vessels to dry dock. That is, they put all the vessels out of the water for them to be examined so that we can know the water integrity of the vessels. Equally, when we went, I also asked the engineers on board that I want to have a look at their logbooks. These are books which are normally with the engineers, that they enter their daily activities, including maintenances that they could have been carrying out on board the vessels. But all these things were written in Greek. So I told them, the Greek counterparts, that, you know, I can't read, I can't as well understand Greek. So it's better you translate these things to English, which they promised to do. But when we came back...
That was it?
Yeah, that was it. I never attended any other meeting when we came back.
Did you make a report?
No, I didn't write any report. The report was written by them, the people I went with at the office of the president.
Did you see the report?
A draft of the report was sent to me as an email attachment by Mustafa Yabo, the then PS, office of the president. That was a draft. But the final report, I was not privy to that.
Did you see any report written by Mr. Haligay?
No, I don't remember. Because I am not a member of the task force. So from Greece, that's the end of whatsoever I am supposed to do. So I don't attend any task force meeting at State House or wheresoever.
Mr. Manneh.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you not asked at any point whether these vessels were suitable for use in Gambia?
Yes.
You were asked?
Yes.
What was your response?
My response was that, looking at the existing ferries we have, these ferries are not suitable for our environment in the first place, because we don't have the landing facility.
Who did you say that to?
The team I was going with, because we had a meeting. My observations were such that I told them in that meeting with the Greek counterparts. I even went further to tell them one of the ferries, Al-Jamdu, the main engine of Al-Jamdu is Lister Blackstone, which is out of production as of now.
You told the meeting?
Yes.
What was the reaction you got?
No, the Greek, the managing director from Greek, Kyriakos, told me that, well, they are going to consult some of manufacturers. I say, fine, if you are going to consult some of the manufacturers in line with that, he say they're going to talk to those people if they can manufacture some of the spares they would need for these vessels. I say, fine. But in the end, nothing of such has happened.
Mr. Manneh, what is curious about your testimony is that there is no element of what you're saying in any of the records we have seen. Mm-hmm. Did you write a report when you came back?
No, I never wrote any report.
Did you know that the government was acquiring these ferries?
Excuse me?
Did you know that the government was acquiring these ferries after that mission?
No, I didn't know, because like I was saying, I never attend any other meeting with them. The moment I go with them from Greece, when I am back, that's the end of it. So any other thing that happens, I'm not aware of it.
How many times did you go to Greece?
I went twice.
The first time was to inspect the ferries?
Yes.
The second time?
The second time, they said they saw another ferry that they want to buy. But initially, they identified 2 ferries. They didn't come into terms with the payment of the other ferry. They say it was late for them to make payment. So actually, they were able to acquire one of them. So we had to go again when they said they identify another ferry. So the second time, I went with them again.
So by the time you went the second time, you knew they had acquired the first one?
Yes, according to the Greek counterpart, they say already that one, the other ferry is available that they can make payment, but for the other one, they cannot do the payment because that one, the owners of the ferry, they're not willing to sell it to them.
At the time you realized that the first ferry was being acquired, did you raise any objections and give any advice to your institution, which is GPA?
No, because GPA don't actually send me It was Office of the President who handpicked me. So I don't think it is fair on their side that for me to tell GPA this is what is happening. Well, I was not sent by GPA. GPA sent me on a mission. I was called from that mission by the Office of the President.
So who did you tell in the Office of the President that, look, you're acquiring this ferry, but it's as I advised in that mission meeting, these ferries are not appropriate, or any sort of advice, any warning that you might have given to the Office of the President?
No, that's what I'm saying. I say normally when we go to Greece, if we have a meeting, whatever I want to say, that's where I would say it. That's where it would stop. For the Office of the President, maybe some people are in the team that would convey the message to the Office of the President, but I was never part of that team.
In that first meeting, when you said you advised, what was the reaction? Was there any reaction when you advised the team about the conditions of the ferry, that you had to put it to dry dock so that you could see, I suppose you mean the bottom of the ferries?
Yes, the Greek counterparts.
What was the reaction from your team?
No, anyway, I didn't observe any among the team to look at their reactions, but the Greek counterparts promised me that that is going to be done. We will take the vessels to the shipyard. We have ultrasound tests on them to look at the water integrity of all the ferries. They will get me the translated copies of the logbooks, but which has never happened.
All right. That first mission, was there anyone from the Ministry of Finance or the embassy in Spain?
Yeah, Momodu Sabali was part of the team. Then he was the director of budgeting.
So you are aware that an account was opened during that mission for money to be paid with regard to the ferry?
Yeah, they discuss it among themselves because some of the meetings, like I was saying, I was never privy to certain things.
What is your background?
I read electronics and electrical engineering.
Is that the competent qualification for dealing with the acquisition of a ferry?
No, actually, our former MD, when I first talked to him about this issue, what he told me was that, like for him, left to him, I would not have even gone in the first place. Yes, because he selected his own candidates, which I was not part.
Which former MD?
Mohamed Lamin Jiba.
So my question is, were you competent to determine whether ferries were suitable for purchase?
No, at that time, I don't have the competency.
Did you say so?
They never asked.
Who decided that you should join the mission?
From the office of the president.
Was there anyone in particular who thought you had the competence to determine whether the ferries ought to be purchased?
No, nobody told me that.
So when did you see the ferries, or when the ferries came, did you have anything to do with them?
When the ferries came, I personally, I don't have anything to do with them.
Were you involved in any way with the ferries?
No.
You didn't work on them or?
No, I didn't work on them because there were engineers identified to be working on board, and I was not one of them. There were some people also from Greek. Some of the engineers came from Greek to be working with our own personnel at the ferry services.
So what were your duties in 2011? What were your duties in 2011? What did you do at GPA in 2011?
In 2011 at the ferries?
Yes.
Well, I was the head of the technical service department, deputizing the then managing director, because the guy who was assisting the director of technical service was on studies. So I was like deputizing the director of technical services. I was overseeing both the mechanical and electrical side of technical service. That's how I got involved in the mechanical aspect of technical service.
But you don't have any mechanical competence?
Well, not to professional level, like my profession, electrical electronics.
All right. Those are the only questions I have for Mr. Manneh, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Manneh.
Yes, please.
Did you ask the MD of GPA, the former MD, ML Jiba, about the request from the State House to have your passport? Did you ask him if he would give you permission to turn in that passport? Why did you contact him? Let me rephrase it that way. After you were called, you told him you were in Farafenni.
Yes.
And that you had no idea what the purpose of the visit was.
Yes.
So when you went to ML Jiba, what were you looking for? Permission to turn in your passport or permission not to travel?
No, I never looked for sought for permission. Like, it's the discipline in which I am, the working environment. In a marine environment, we respect protocols. You understand? So if I was called, it's obligatory on me to inform my superiors, because already my superiors allow me to go on a trek. Somebody not within the institution calling me, telling me I should come back. So obviously I need to take permission from my immediate superiors that, can you allow me or would you allow me to come back? And if they insist I shouldn't come back, I would have stayed.
Good. So when Mr. ML Jiba told you to turn in your passport to the State House, it's now GPA asking you to travel, not the OP. Agreed?
Well, I would doubt it, because the whole trip, that particular trip was financed by the Office of the President.
No, we haven't gotten there.
Okay.
When your superior or your supervisor tells you it's okay to give your passport for a visa or whatever to travel, you are no longer in the service of OP.
Okay.
You are not yet there. Now it's your GPA, your employer, asking you to travel. Do you agree or not?
I agree to certain extent.
So on the way,
yes,
you discovered why you were going to Greece.
Yes.
By asking. At the time they told you, did you agree that you were not the right person to be on that trip? In terms of their expectation.
In terms of, I don't know what they were expecting in the first place.
Good.
Otherwise, they could have not just handpicked me in the first place.
Okay.
I expect them to take advice from my department or my institution and not to consult me directly.
So we're on the same wavelength, you and I.
Yes.
Now, do you believe you were just being used by the office of the president on this trip without knowledge, competence to do whatever they expected of you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. You may leave.
Thank you.
We'll now rise and come back at 2:30.